to another episode of Math Snacks with Miss Glovely and Miss Wonderful. Miss Glovely, today we're going to talk about long division.
Good, because I think a lot of people have trouble with long division.
Well, when I was in school, we spent months and months on long division, and I just kind of followed the procedure, but I really never understood what I was doing.
I think that's pretty common.
Well, let's look at some ways that we can look at the conceptual side of what's really happening with long division before we look at the procedures that we do in school.
That would be great.
Okay, let's start out with this problem. 484 divided by 4. There's a couple different ways we can look at that. We can either look at it as fair sharing,
Okay.
or we can look at it as repeated subtraction.
Okay, let's try the fair share method first.
Okay, let's look at fair sharing. So if we're saying 484 divided by 4, what do we need to do?
Well, I think it would be a good idea to represent 484 with a concrete manipulative.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do that.
Okay, I think base 10 blocks might be a good way to show this. This would be 4 flats, which would
Counting, making sure there's 4 of them there.
You think I might not be right?
I don't know. Counting to 4 is hard sometimes.
400. That would be 400 units, and then I have 8 rods, which would be 80 because there's 10 in each of those.
Okay.
And then 4 unit cubes for the 4.
Okay.
And if I'm going to divide it into 4 equal groups, I bet you're going to make me do that next.
I'm going to ask you to fair share those.
Okay, so each one of the groups would get a 100 flat.
Would you like me to move this out of your way?
That might be good.
Okay.
Okay, so each group would get one of those.
Okay.
Then each person or group would get 2 of the 10 rods, or 20.
Okay. I'm just going to stick that problem there so we
Remember what it is.
remember what we're working on.
And then each would get a unit cube. Okay. So I'm guessing, or by looking, I'm actually not guessing, I'm looking and I'm seeing that each group would get 121.
So 484 divided by 4 is going to equal 121. My goodness, Miss Glovely, my markers are already messing up on me. It's the beginning of the year. It's time to get new markers.
There we go.
Okay, well, that one was a pretty easy one. Let's try one that's a little bit more complicated.
Okay.
Okay, so this time let's try 584 divided by 4.
584. Okay. Well, this time I need 5 of the 100 flats. You want to check me again, or do you trust me this time?
I'm going to double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 can never be too sure.
That makes me sad that you don't trust me
Oh
yet.
my goodness. Well.
Oh well. There's 80.
But the problem was 548.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said 80. Sorry. 540.
Okay.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And now I get to fair share again.
Now you get to share fair again with divided amongst 4 folks.
Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. But uh-oh. Can I break this?
Well, you could, but I
don't think they're going to like that if I break that.
I don't think that would be good. But what can we do with that?
Well, I could change it for 10 of the rods.
Okay, because there's 10 tens in this flat.
That's correct. So there's 4
I'll hold
of them.
it for you.
Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, it's going to be tight. And there's 10. Okay. Perfect. So
we can get these and throw that one away.
Okay. So now I'm going to split these and give each of these guys, let's start with 3 so I don't run out.
That's probably a good idea to kind of estimate how many you think you can split. Doesn't quite take as long if you go by ones all the time.
Right, there you go. Oops, got the same problem. I can't split these 2 amongst 4 groups. So
we could if we could divide them in half, but again, they wouldn't be very happy with us if we did that.
Probably not.
So let's go ahead and split those.
Okay, so we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so you can throw one of those away. And then there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so you can throw the other one away. Perfect.
It's gone.
Good. Okay, so we're going to put 4 of these at a time. Let's see if that works. And 4 more. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
As you're-
Look, there's more. Two
Oh,
more.
two more.
Oops.
This reminds me of in a program called Cognitively Guided Instruction. It's called a division partitive where they do fair sharing. It's
Really?
very similar to that.
Hey,
okay.
perfect.
Are they all even?
They
You
are
got the
all
exact
even.
same amount?
I have the exact same amount on each one.
So 548 divided by 4.
This time it's going to be 130. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
137. Hey, the red marker worked better than the black one did.
Perfect.
So 548 divided by 4 is 137.
I think that really shows how the division works. That's a cool method.
You like that fair share?
I did.
Think fair share. Let's connect that to what we do with the procedure that you and I learned in school.
Okay.
Okay? So this time I'm going to ask you to do a problem similar to these, but instead of having you do the whole fair share, I'm going to ask you to stop, and I'm going to ask you questions along the way to think about.
Okay.
Okay? So this time, I want us to think about 537, and I'm going to write the division problem different this time. I'm going to write it this way.
There's my old friend. That's how I used to see it written.
Okay, so this also says 537 divided by 4.
Okay, so there's my 500.
So you've got your 500.
I've got my 30. And pretty quickly I'll have 7.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to first start with your hundreds, your flats, like you did before. And after you divide your 500 flats amongst 4, I want you to stop before you do any trading.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, so each of my groups is going to get 1 flat. And then because I've got this extra guy, I have to stop.
Okay, so the first question is, how many units did you put in each group?
I used 100.
Okay, you used 100, so, or 1 flat. So I'm going to put a 1 here in the hundreds place.
Okay.
To represent that each one have got one of those, or
Okay.
1 flat. And above it, here I'm just going to write 100. So we remember that was 100.
Okay.
Even though by putting it here, we're saying
It's in the hundreds place.
100. My next question is, how many did you share all together?
4. 400.
400. So we're going to write 400 down below here.
Okay.
And the next question is, how many do you have left?
Well, I still have a 100, and I have a 30, and I have my 7, so I have 137.
You have 137 left.
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let you go back to your dividing up your hundreds.
Okay, so I have this hundreds, and I need to replace it with 10 of the rods. And we've done that, and gotten rid of that. So now you want me to fair share these?
Fair share your 10s.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you.
3 of those, 3 of those, 3 to this group, and 3 to this group. And I'm stopping.
Okay. How many units did you put in each group?
3. Or 3 tens, which would be 30.
So I'm going to put the 3 here to represent, because it's in the tens place. And up here I'm going to write 30 just to kind of keep it in my mind. Okay. How many units did you share all together? So that 30, each of these 30 all together, how much was that?
That would be 12 of them, or 120.
Okay. So I'm going to take 120 out because we've shared 120.
Okay.
Which leads me to the last question, which is right here. How many do you have left?
I have 1 10 and 7 1s, so I have 17.
Okay. So go ahead and do your sharing of your ones.
Okay, I'm going to have to replace this 10 with 10 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, and then if I share them, let's try 4 in a group to see if there's enough for 4 in a group. There we go. Question time.
Yep. You know how many units are in each group.
How many are in each group?
Mm-hmm.
There are 4.
4 ones, right? So I'm going to put it in the ones column. How many did you share all together?
4 per group, so 16.
And how many do you have left?
1.
Okay. So in this case, we have a remainder 1.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So that's kind of the fair sharing idea. What do you think if we worked on this with students more and more? Would we get that conceptually?
I think they would really understand it with the base 10 blocks.
Okay. And it takes lots. We only did 2 or 3 of them, but doing it more and more before we even look at the connection to the written would be good for kids to do.
I think so too, and I really like the fact that the questions just are very consistent over and over and over, the same questions.
Okay. So you want to try the repeated subtraction now?
Sure.
Okay, let's clean our board. And let's look at repeated subtraction. Okay, here's our problem, written in that same way that we grew up seeing it in school.
Okay.
This time I want us to think about, because when we are doing subtraction, as repeated subtraction, we're saying how many 4s do we know can go into that number. So
Okay.
if you think of the number 536, we're saying how many 4s do you just know with your mental math skills we can get out of there?
Well, I always like to multiply by powers of 10, so I know that 100 of them could come out of 536,
Okay, so
which would be 400.
So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 400 out.
Okay.
And we're going to keep track that we subtracted 400 out by knowing that was 100 4s.
Okay.
So when we do our subtraction now, we have 136 left.
That's right.
What's another math fact of how many times you think 4 will go into 136?
Well, I'm going to stick with that ending in 0 thing because it makes that mental math easy. So I'm going to say that I could take 30.
Okay, so I'm going to record 30 here so we know that we're taking 30. And 34s equals
120.
120. And what do we have left?
16.
16. You smiled when you said 16, Miss Glovely. Why do you like 16?
Because I know that math fact, that 4 times 4 is 16.
So we know that there's 4 more in that 16. And now we don't have any more to deal with.
Yay!
So how many times did we take 4 out of 536?
Looks to me like it's 134.
134 times. So 4 goes into 536.
That's pretty cool.
So 2 ways to be thinking about it. We can be thinking of it as repeated subtraction, like we just did here, or the fair sharing method that we did with the base 10 blocks.
I like it.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining Miss Glovely and Miss Wonderful in another episode of Math Snacks.